What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. That, of course, is the Freddie Mercury puppet. We are back with another incredible episode. My guest is here. We're going to chop it up and get into it immediately. So here we go. No wasting time. No dilly-dallying. We're jumping into the fire. I'm fired up. I'm just going to say it. Fired up. I'm fired up, Adam. I was just doing in my little preamble saying I'm fired up.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm fired up, man. And I'm super fired up for you guys, man, because once again, it just goes to prove the point, man, that everything that comes out of the Northeast is badass.
I mean, generally, yeah. I think
generally speaking, we can. It is a generalized statement, and I hate to be so broad about it, but I'm an upstate New York guy. I do this podcast. I do a boxing podcast. 9 times out of 10, the baddest motherfuckers are from the Northeast.
I mean, I think they're more concentrated on the badassedness factor.
They are.
In general,
They are.
Than other places, you know.
Yeah. I congratulate you guys, though, man. I mean, I'm wondering, as an artist, are you somebody that pays much attention to the feedback, these various sites that like review albums, everything? Because you guys are obviously making big waves with the self-titled that came out in May. I'm seeing all over the place, or contender for album of the year. And I agree.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I want to say, first of all, forgive me, my voice is a little
That's
shot.
all right. Yeah, I know.
Right now. But yeah, I tend to pay attention to this stuff, just because, it takes years to make these albums. Like, this album's 4 years in the making, and it's not like if somebody gives a thing a bad review, it doesn't really like I'm not like, oh shit, what am I gonna do?
Earth shattering.
Yeah, it's just I kind of look at it as like, okay, that's interesting how this person saw this thing, because I like it, and I'm not going to let somebody else's opinion change that. But I think it's interesting to get somebody's perspective on what maybe they liked or didn't like about it. I'm always interested in the quality of a review that I see. Like,
yeah,
I like to see if it's a negative thing. Like, I can always tell if the person's really paying attention to what they're listening to or not, and that's
right.
That's what I care about mostly.
What was the transition like for you? I'm sure you're probably on record in other interviews as saying it, but for people that don't know the history of Rivers of Nihil, you're the bass player from 2009 to 2022, and then you're kind of, for lack of a better term, thrust into the role of suddenly being lead singer, frontman, yada yada yada, whatever you want to, whatever phrase you want to coin here.
Yeah.
What was that transition like for you?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a big deal, and it's been many different levels of challenging. Just as you can see that sometimes, or it's here more or less. Sometimes it's more challenging than others, and I tend to. Sometimes you blow your voice out just from we've been practicing all week, so it's like. But, I have a couple days to recover and everything. So before we start playing these festival shows we're about to head over to. But, yeah, things like that. Like, I never really had to worry about that before.
Right.
And, also, just the performance of everything and, playing my bass parts while singing is tough. And, it's challenging. It's fun. For the old songs that we're already used to playing, it added a new layer of challenge, and then and then for I like doing vocals, and so doing the new stuff and being able to just use my own genuine voice on this stuff was really cool. I mean, I've always been the guy in the band who wrote the lyrics and kind of orchestrated the way the vocal parts go in the song. So
right.
It was all up there to begin with, which is kind of why it made sense for me to step in when I was needed to do so. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a wild ride. I've had to learn a lot of different different things about how to maintain my voice and how to sound this way and that way. And it's a big journey. And I don't, I mean, I still feel like it's been, 3 years, and I still feel like I'm making the transition.
Yeah.
You
Has it
know?
been difficult? Are you ascribing to any type of voice care regimen? Are you kind of finding your way through the whole thing?
I mean, it's yeah, I'm finding my way through it, and it's like, it's never fun when your voice is like exhausted like
Yeah.
it like mine is right now. But it's just I've learned that it's not really about what you have. Like, some guys are like, oh, you gotta do honey and you have to drink
Right.
tea and do all this
Yeah.
shit, and it's like, I think that's mostly bullshit. Like, it's like your voice is a muscle group like anything else, and
It
it's
is.
like the
Yeah.
only thing you can do is drink. Really that affects it is drink water, get protein, and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know,
That sounds really rock and roll.
yeah, right. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. I don't like that, like, singers have this reputation of being like the fucking, wild men. Like, they're gotta
Yeah.
be the party animal, but it's like
Yeah.
you really have to be like the most like chill guy if
You
you
do.
wanna, yeah,
Yeah.
if you wanna do this thing successfully for any length of time.
And so I'm interested. You start on the bass. How did you find your way to that instrument? Because you make a good point. A lot of guys do want to be the front man. A lot of guys do want to be the guy shredding, the Eddie Van Halen types or whatever. Did you find your way to the bass? Did the bass find you? Because it's not always considered the most glamorous of instruments when people are joining bands.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the most reserved.
Nevertheless, the backbone. Nevertheless, the backbone.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting instrument to, made my life around, I guess. But yeah, it found me because um I think, I was like probably 11 or 12 years old, and I was starting to get into music more, and I wanted to participate. My dad is a musician as well. I grew up with him playing guitar and writing songs around the house all the time. And I took a couple stabs at guitar as like a young kid, and it just like sort of was working, but not really. And then I think I kind of like toyed with the idea of maybe wanted to play drums, which every kid wants to do,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
then, my parents were like, that's probably not going to work in our house.
No parent wants it. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, like, they're like, what's an instrument no one can hear that he can play? And so I think part of it was my dad, like, wanted to have a bass, that he could
Yeah.
mess around with too. So, like,
Yeah.
so that was like, that ended up being my Christmas present that year. But I really took to it. Like, I just kind of like, I did lessons for a little while, but and then I ended up teaching myself mostly, and I just would play the damn thing all the time and just learn songs that I liked constantly. And it just, for some reason, just kind of became my identity. And I just started playing with people, maybe a year in, and I just got addicted to doing that.
Yeah.
And somebody always, especially back then, everybody always needed a bass player,
Right. Yeah.
around, and because everybody's a guitar player, everybody thinks they're a singer, etc. And but nobody's willing to, take on the bass playing role. Not nobody, but not as many. And so
It's not glamorous. Yeah.
yeah, so that, and early on in like the first couple bands that I played in, like I was also the singer too, like that. So it's, and there wasn't, and I've always kind of contributed some kind of vocal to pretty much every project I've ever done. So that was also kind of, so what I'm doing now is kind of just back to basics for me a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the bass guitar was just, it just a wave that I rode. I just listening to, like, once I knew even what the thing was, because I think when my dad proposed, me playing it, I was like, I'm not even sure what that is, like
Right.
what a bass
Right.
guitar is. And then, but then I started listening closer to music, and like I remember Korn being a really integral part because the feel these slap bass parts really stuck out in
You
that
could hear
music.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, that's cool. That's a thing I could get into. I think I like the idea of like making slappy metallic noises and it sounds heavy and sweet.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, yeah, big journey there as well, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
And so what was the creative process like for this particular album? Like you made the point earlier that you've been like doing a lot of the writing or whatever. But when you guys put this particular masterpiece together, what was everyone's contribution? Was it collaborative? Was someone bringing the lion's share of the ideas?
Well, I mean, I would say like it's sort of our typical process, like the previous record and like previous two records or so. It's mostly been Brody, our lead guitarist, like mostly putting the music together himself with a little input where needed from other members and
Yeah.
myself, myself included, like and then me just sort of orchestrating how all the vocals and lyrics come together. And this one is not entirely different, but we also had a new member, Andy Thomas, join as a guitar player, and he brings a lot of other his own voice to the table. And so that was something that we added in. Like he's a great riff writer and everything. So we were, there's a few songs on the record that are based on his ideas. And
Yeah.
so we just sort of introduced his ideas to our typical process, and it all felt really smooth. And I think with all the changes and lineup and everything that had gone on in the band in the last few years, we were all just really motivated to put something out and show people that, like, we're not at a handicap here. It's
Right.
we're in a point of strength.
And now 10 songs, 50 minutes. Obviously, I don't need to tell you the music landscape has changed. The way people are digesting and listening to music has changed. Attention spans have dwindled. It's a kind of a singles world, a track-by-track world. People are making sometimes shorter projects, EPs or whatever. Did you guys sit around and think consciously about how many songs do we want on this? How many minutes do we want to? Because when I see albums reviewed, I always see that like a big thing. Oh, this album went on for too long. You know what I mean? It should have been trimmer. It should have been tighter. It should have been leaner and meaner. You guys sit around and have these conversations?
Yeah, we definitely did on this one because the last record we did was like over an hour long, and it felt like to us like, even though I think it's true to the nature of that project, I think we just wanted to cut the fat a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think we missed the mark on that, even in our estimation. We wanted to do a 40-minute record.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, well, I mean, with this included and then and this and that, and this ends up being a little over 50. And we were just like, it's still a little longer than we would have liked, but we didn't want to cut anything else from it. But yeah, it is something, especially this time, that we definitely thought more about. I think on maybe the last two records we were like, I don't remember if we thought as consciously about it, but we were just kind of like, yeah, we want all of this stuff that we can do. Like, why not give more? Was kind of our
Yeah.
ethos, and this is like, like maybe a little bit more of a less is more approach. And not only just in the record itself, but in the songs. We didn't want any songs to just go on for way too long. And there's a couple of tracks that are on the longer side, but that's kind of, it's what we do. At
Yeah.
this point, is we have that the kind of meandering exploration from time to time. But
Yeah. I think you can get away with that a little more in the metal world. I think the fans appreciate it a little more because I don't think, I think when a metal band puts out an album, all these albums in some way, shape, or form kind of seem conceptual. You know what I mean? You're telling some kind of story. You want it to be some type of a journey. You can't always do that in a short amount of time.
no, yeah, and I mean, it's, some people like a big long journey. Some
Yeah.
people want their record to go like this, and it's like you can't please everybody. You just have to make a decision, and like, so I think we did observe that like you said, it's a singles world, it's an EPs world, and we
Yep.
kind of at the when once the lineup shifted, we kind of like we put out a few singles, a few of which ended up on the record, and we were like trying to sort of test the waters with that to see if that's the kind of band that we are, or like maybe we should just concentrate on doing some EPs and stuff like that. And it really does, I think, work better in other genres than it does in metal.
It does. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think because metal fans are they're a little more old school than like, hip hop and pop fans and
Yeah.
the like, and they like their records, they like their album, like the record is the statement that a metal band makes in
Yeah.
the
And
eyes
if
of
you're gonna
metal
and if you're gonna go
fans.
3 or 4 years between projects, I think when you are about to drop something, like people are left a little flat when they get like 4 or 5 songs. I mean, they want a little more.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, I don't blame them. And we kind of try to, like I said, we try to test the waters with all the singles and stuff. And it's not that it didn't work, but it didn't. It just like felt like, this is not. If anything, it's not the kind of band that we are really. I
Right.
think albums are kind of more our deal.
Yeah. Now you guys have taken I think I think it's been a double-edged sword. You've been hailed and also criticized for the use of the sax. I love the sax.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I like it.
Yeah,
Obviously, I mean, it's just. I think it's an instrument that has a really interesting trajectory over
absolutely.
history.
Yeah.
People have always either loved or hated it, and but it's like, as like a kind of old school prog fan, like I am, like it's all over that shit. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like all over Pink Floyd and King Crimson
Oh
albums and
yeah.
all those things, which is like some of my favorite stuff in the world.
And
Some
now
of my
who
favorite.
sits around as a band and actually throws out the suggestion of a sax? Is it a collective thing? Who takes credit for that in the band?
Well, I mean, I think it's the story as we tell it was that, like, when we did the Where Owls Know My Name record, which is the first time we used it, like we had a couple spots that were like, well, like I feel like we weren't like confident enough to maybe like turn this into some kind of like singing part yet, because we weren't really doing a lot of singing at that time.
Yeah.
And like it's like, what do we do? Another guitar solo here? What do we do? And like we just had these big open sections that needed something to speak there. And then I think it was Brody had the idea, like, because we knew Zach Strauss, the guy who played sax on that record and on the work. And so we were just like, hey, we know this guy plays saxophone, like, why not see if he wants to throw a spot on there? And it was just like, yeah, of course. I was just, like, yeah, of course, let's
Yeah.
try it out. And then as it went well. And then when it came time to do the session, there was just like, it was just like the ideas were just like, well, what if he does this here? What if we have this section as well? Like, and it just sort of rolls into this thing of like, well, we could put this here and there and
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 52 years old. I remember Metallica losing the Grammys to Jethro Tull back in the 80s to a goddamn flute. So,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean I'm not as big a fan of the flute.
Yeah. Yeah, the flute is not as metal as the saxophone for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that
But
is a tough one.
props to Jethro Tull. I mean, it's not like Metallica needed any more fucking accolades.
True. And so what makes a great or what are the ingredients? What typically comes first in a great Rivers of Nihil song? Is it a line? Is it a title? Is it a riff? Like, what usually births a great song for you guys?
Well, I mean, I think, like I said, like most of the songs are, sort of a collaboration between Brody and myself, and
Yeah.
he's over in his lab doing his thing. He has like a nice, decent studio setup, and he's just like, working on putting the sounds together. So he gets a pretty comprehensive demo of a song working, or like about a minute or so of like what a song could feel like.
Right.
And then we, kind of go back and forth about, what where, how to develop the ideas until it's a full song. And in that process, usually I'll call some kind of emotion out of it that I think the song is gonna mesh with, and that's how the lyrics kind of come into play. And sometimes it's like the title "Where Owls Know My Name" is something that I had just like stuck in my head for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then it just felt like when that song came up, I was like, yeah, this is that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I get
It's
that.
it's a little mysterious, but it comes together at the end of the day.
Obviously people can make their own interpretation of the songs, but is there a deliberate in this new album? Is there a deliberate theme or like a message in there, that you're trying to convey?
Yeah, I mean, like it's always interesting because I go in with this thing. It's like this is what I want to say,
Right.
and then once it's done, I usually go back and I'm like, huh, I think this is actually what comes across.
Yeah.
So, but like my, going into this record, my idea was to just like kind of point out the damaging darkness of metal music.
Yeah.
Because you spend an entire lifetime listening to this kind of stuff and like like being around like a kind of soft celebration of evil. And
Yeah.
it's not good for your soul, I think, at the end of the day, to just cavalierly enjoy that kind of thing. And maybe there should be some sort of better virtues in there.
Yeah.
But I think that was the idea going in, but I think coming out of it was sort of just more of a look into that darkness like and like, but in a more grounded, realistic way, I think. And maybe sort of just working on expelling those ideas.
Yeah. Now, when you guys go out on the road, I have so many musicians on here who talk about, the length of a tour. What's a comfortable itinerary? I seem to get a lot of feedback where 3 or 4 weeks seems to be a comfortable number before people are just like, okay, I've had enough. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think we all enjoy getting back to our creature comforts, being home in our own nest or whatever. Do you guys have those type of conversations when you're planning out a tour? I'm sure everyone has lives, maybe families, maybe responsibilities. How do you work all that out?
I mean, everybody's got a different thing going on, and I'm the guy in the band I'm the only one who has kids, so it's like,
Okay.
it's been a little challenging in that regard for me to be like away a long time, but we're working through it, and it's it is like the kids are only little for so long, and
Right.
and
Absolutely.
that stuff starts to get easier, but yeah, it's tough, but like it's also like tour for us usually starts to hit a point where it becomes monetarily worth it around the second or third week.
Yeah.
So then it's like if we can push it to 5 weeks, we can come home and show our wives like, hey, look, we did a good
Yeah.
job.
The fruits of your labor.
Yeah. So I mean, and as the older we get, that becomes more of a reality and a
Yeah.
thing that we have to concentrate on, and it's a weird balancing act, and like it's you realize once you're not like 22 anymore that like you can't stray too far from the creature comforts, because then that starts to
Yeah.
fuck up your actual performance and stuff. So it's like
Sure.
you end up spending more money on like better transportation, hotel rooms, like making
Yeah.
sure you're comfortable, like
Yeah.
things like that. And it's an interesting balancing act to keep up.
Then essentially you've just paid for a very expensive overextended vacation.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's hard to meet that split point. But yeah, that's some deep nitty gritty business stuff.
And now you guys, certainly not unlike a lot of bands. I'm 52, as I said. I come from an era where MTV actually showed videos, but it does still seem like a useful marketing tool, a good promotional tool. We're watching on smaller screens, obviously, computers and our phones or whatever, man. You guys make videos. Do you enjoy that process, and do you see it as useful to the band?
I mean, yeah, I think it's I, it depends. Sometimes the process is a lot of fun and it's easy and it's and it's attainable. Sometimes it's really tough and really hard to coordinate and really hard to get the idea across that you wanted to
Yeah.
portray in the video, because like anything else, it's like, it's a big collaboration with all, a lot of outside people, and it's like, what,
Right.
can we get like the props and the things that we need? Can we get the location? It's a lot of that, and you're working with budgets that aren't 1980s MTV $1 million budgets anymore.
Right. Right.
And so that, sometimes it can be really fun if there's an idea that's like, it's a good idea and like everybody's on board, everybody gets it, and it's been planned correctly. And sometimes it can be a little more challenging, but yeah, I mean, I think overall, like there's definitely some moments from these videos that I've walked away from and I'm like, oh, I'm really proud that we've accomplished this
Yeah.
particular thing.
And so this album, why is it self-titled?
Well, I mean, I think,
And I don't mean that as a criticism. I'm just wondering, like, so many albums, into your career, man. Like, why a self-titled one for this particular one?
I think there's a few reasons that we made that decision.
Okay.
Like, I think because we did this whole like conceptual like arcing thing with our first 4 records, and then but it was sort of the idea behind that was to sort of like discover the band's like what we're best at.
Yeah.
And so it made sense in my head to be like to get to the other side of that whole narrative arc or whatever, and be like, okay, this is us, this is the band that we've become and decided to be through that process.
Right.
And then once all the lineup changes took place and everything like that, it seemed even more like a good idea to reassert that idea, like this is this band, like this is us, despite everything that we've been through, and all of that. And the other reason is that, like, funnily enough, if you bring up Metallica, like their 5th album is their self-titled,
Yeah.
and so we found ourselves walking into this record with a kind of similar ethos. Like, we wanted to trim the fat, turn the band into a machine, make these songs as catchy as possible, and really just keep it tight. And so it felt very Black Album in its construction. So it all seemed appropriate to self-title.
Now, in the metal world, it seems like, as much as I'm a huge fan, it does seem like they love their genres, they love their labels, they love their subgenres and their sub-labels. What would you call your band? I mean, in the classic sense, do you feel like you guys are a death metal band? Because there are lots of clean lyrics on this new album that are absolutely beautiful. I mean, where do you feel like you guys land in the dreaded genre department?
I mean, it's an interesting question, because we've been labeled a lot of different things over the years. Like, when we started out, it was pretty directly like, like deathcore kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then once we moved past that, and then it was like, oh, this is like this straight up death metal band. And then I was like tech death thing.
Yeah.
And then we started getting into more progressive death metal stuff. And we've never liked labeling. We've I think especially early on in the band, there was members of the band that were really strict about what we could and couldn't do.
Yeah.
And so once they had left the band, it was like Brody and I making the decisions, and we were just like, we're just gonna do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And not like, like the one we get the most often, strangely to me, is technical death metal, and like we've never ever sat there and been like, this song isn't technical enough.
Right.
Like never
Right.
ever. Like I don't give a rat's ass
Yeah, that's
about technical proficiency. Like I think it's a prerequisite to playing any kind of extreme metal, of course, but like is the riff cool? Is it a good song? That's my concern. Like whether or not it conforms into some subgenre is just so like it's it seems childish to me.
Yeah, I agree. And so your own listening trends, you know what I mean? Like from a fan standpoint, when you're puttering around the house, when you're listening to music, like what are your own listening trends like? Are you somebody that kind of falls back on the stuff you're familiar with and that you've always liked, or are you able to find like new music that excites you and that you enjoy?
I mean, I think it's, and the older I get, it's harder to be as enthusiastic about new stuff.
Yeah.
But it certainly does happen. Like, I mean, like I've definitely, picked up like new bands here and there, and new artists in general that I've grown really fond of and look forward to their new stuff that comes out. And it's usually bands that I feel that are pushing the genre in some way that I haven't heard it before.
Yeah.
And that's what I find mostly appealing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times, yeah, like I'll go back to old stuff that I know used to hype me up when I was younger, and I'll be like, yeah, this. I'll confirm or deny, like, yep, this still rips.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
that's I find myself doing that a lot. But yeah, I mean, I try to stay as open minded as possible, and I mean, it's but like I find a lot of stuff does to me. I don't know if it's just I'm just an old guy now. Like I'm just becoming an old guy. But like a lot of bands that hit the scene, I'm like, man, I've heard this done
You feel like it's
before.
been done. Yeah.
I mean, like, and which isn't always bad, but it's because there's like like this band, maybe a band that I've heard done their style done before, like they do it particularly well, or they have something new to add to it. But I find myself getting a little stuck in my ways, perhaps.
Now you mentioned being a parent, man. When you became a parent, did that change the way you created music? Did it, did it influence your creative process at all?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, this new record is definitely like it was like made me like having kids made me kind of step back and analyze like, do I want to be a person that like like do I want my kids growing up seeing their dad just like kind of like like this metal guy like who just like makes dark music,
right
and stuff. I mean, and strangely, I think a lot of the stuff on this record it is like a lot darker in some ways than anything we've written before. And it's like I think where that is like it's subjects that I touch on this record that are things that I kind of fear for my kids having to deal with.
Yeah.
Like just rampant, like the unstoppable march of technology and war and just like being like destitute, like people and just even like the unforeseen kind of
I get it.
terrors of life.
Yeah, I get it. I've got grown kids, but now I'm going through it again because I'm a grandfather now. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So now you're kind of going through it all over again, and it's that same kind of worry. You know what I mean? It's that same kind of worry, man. Like, what's the world that that we're handing over to them?
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to say whether or not like it's whether or not it's so bad. Because I'm sure our parents had the same feelings,
right?
And their parents had that same feeling about and it just does the cycle ever repeat? Does it start over? Like time just kind of marches on,
right?
And our kids and our grandkids are going to be in the world that they're going to be in, and just like we were, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And yeah, you can only protect them from so much.
Just hope you're pointing them in the right direction, and
Yeah,
you're letting go, and you've laid a good groundwork.
yeah, and that's become more important for me, in recent years. My kids are still really young,
Yeah,
but just it is really important for me to make sure that they have, a good head on their shoulders and they're not tricked by fucking dark nonsense
right,
out there.
right. And now, individually, we talked about the band's creative process. Individually, though, like, what's it like for you? Like, are you somebody that throughout the day is getting sparks of creativity? I know a lot of guys, they're humming stuff in their phone, they're jotting stuff down sporadically throughout the day. But then there's guys who do treat it like a job. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm going to go into this room and I'm going to lock in and I'm going to create some music. What's the individual process like for you?
I mean, it's definitely for me. It's changed a lot over the years. Like I used to, being that I have really small kids, it's just like I kind of have to use the moments that I am given,
Right.
and like I look at that as a particular creative challenge. I don't look at that as like, oh, I can't do anything. Like it's just
Right.
like this. I have to do what I can with the time that I have, and I guess for me, especially when it comes to lyrics, I'm pretty like I'll listen to these demos that we make over and over again, and to the point where like I know the songs front to back before I even touch an instrument in relation to them. And so that familiarity really helps when it comes to like writing bass lines and things like that. But then lyrically, I tend to be able to just, like in this, like we're in the studio. I like the last 3 records we've made. I've walked into the studio with nothing written down, and I just kind of go
On
in
the
there
fly. Yeah.
and make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's
Kinda. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's a lot of times better for me because
Yeah.
like when I write something down like on the page and I see the words, it's kind of just done.
Right.
And I'm left with this feeling of like, could this have been something different if I gave it a little more time?
Yeah.
And then so it's I have things going on in my head all the time of what I want to hear and like what I want to say, but it comes out like when it's supposed to, and it's usually go time. And I know that it kind of, much to the dismay of some of the more organized people in our camp, like producers and other band members, are like,
Right.
what do you got? Like, can you show
Right.
us something? And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Mm,
Yeah.
you'll hear it when it's time." And then
Yeah.
that's just how it is. Sorry.
Well, spontaneity. Spontaneity, though, man. I mean, like that seems like a huge component of rock and roll. It probably was at one point. I mean,
Yeah, it's that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's when all the screws are too tight, like
Yeah.
it's just kind of it takes the danger out of it. And I'm a big put the danger back in it kind of guy when it
I
comes
like
to
that.
rock
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. We don't need this much structure. I mean, like we're not accountants here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am, because like Brody is a big, like he needs a roadmap for
Yeah.
everything, and he's
Yeah.
that's how he is, and like
Each his own. Yeah.
yeah, and then that's his thing, and me and him will like butt heads on the way we're supposed to do, the way I think we should do this thing sometimes, but I think in that is how we make what we make.
Yeah. And now you guys are about to embark on an overseas tour here next month, or in a few weeks, right?
Well, not just a couple days. We're flying tomorrow.
August. Okay. And so what's the itinerary like? You'll be over there for what? A month and some change?
Oh no, not nearly that long. I think it's like a little over 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be done, I think, August 18th. So it's just like we have, I think, maybe 6 or 7 of these big festivals over there that we're playing, and then some stuff in between, some headliners. I think we're playing a couple shows of Dying Fetus, and
Okay.
so.
And then what is the plan when you get back? Will there be more touring in the States?
Yeah, we have a Prague Power Fest in Atlanta that we're playing in September after we get back, and then we have another tour coming up at the end of the year that is yet to be announced. So
Okay, awesome.
busy, busy.
So people need to find out and tap in to all things Rivers of Nile. Where's the best place?
Yeah, I mean, like we're on all your typical social medias. Our Instagram is usually where our first. You're gonna find out first what's going on with us.
Okay.
If you're an old school.com guy, riversnile.com has everything about us that you could ever want. Links to all that social media stuff, merch, everything.
Okay. Listen, man, I appreciate you doing this. I will not keep you. I will not keep you any longer than the 40 minutes that I've kept you, because I got to help preserve the voice. I don't want to hear in the comment section, Jesus Christ, you talked Adam to fucking death, and now we're going to see him and he's got no goddamn voice.
I got a couple days to rest, so I should be just fine.
That's all I need. That's all I need is the guilt of helping botch a Rivers of Nile tour.
Yeah, no,
I don't need that on my conscience.
That's all. That's all right. Well, I'll be okay. I can.
Good.
I won't blame anybody but myself.
But I appreciate you doing this, man. And please stay in touch, man. I'd love to have you back on, man. For sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed the conversation, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's do it again sometime, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Amazing album. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Album of the year. I'm going on record and saying it.
Wow. Well, that's high praise. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Good talking to you, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. Later, my friend. You too. There he goes, folks. Adam Biggs, vocalist, bass player, Rivers of Nile. They have just dropped a fucking bona fide masterpiece, self-titled, just dropped the end of May. Do yourself a favor and go check it out. Tracks that have already stood out to me, not to impugn the rest of the album at all. I love Water and Time, House of Light, American Death. The riff is fucking incredible. Criminals, Despair Church. This is literally a great album. Absolutely incredible. Congrats to the fellas, man. They really, really outdid themselves on this one. I think metal fans, well, they're already loving it, but if you haven't checked it out, I think you will fall in love with it. It is truly an amazing album. Look for the boys on tour. As I said, or as he said, they're going to be going to Europe, doing some festivals and some shows here in August. Then they will be back in the States. You heard Adam hint at a yet unannounced tour. So the boys will be out there in full force supporting this amazing record. If they're rolling into a town near you, go show some love, go show some support, check out a show, support live music, and get out there and buy some merch. Lift these guys up, man. This is what they do. This is how they make their living, man. They're out there earning their nut. Go out and you know, if you love these bands, get out there. That's my spiel, man. And really appreciate Adam Biggs coming straight from band practice and hopping on here with me. So big ups to Adam Biggs. Big ups to Rivers of Nile. This is truly a massive album. And certainly, you know, we are closing in on the end of the year here. We're more than halfway through. Easily a strong contender for album of the year. I don't know that it's going to be outdone, or if it has been outdone. I'm not claiming to know every release that's out there, but I know this release, and it is fucking kick-ass. So appreciate Adam Biggs, man. Hope you guys dug that conversation, man. Really appreciate him coming on here. Now I'll go into pimp mode. Make sure to like and follow PodScum on Facebook. The Facebook page is Off the Couch Boxing and PodScum on Facebook. Both my podcasts, one Facebook. If you're into the pugilism, we got you covered with Off the Couch Boxing. If you're into the music, we got you covered with PodScum. Check out the Facebook. You'll get updates on what's popping with both podcasts. And of course, if you're on here right now watching this episode, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to smash that notification bell to stay tapped in to the most amazing and real conversations. That's how we get down here, folks. We're bringing back old school conversation, man. It is a dying art, and we are bringing it back. We're chopping it up. We're all over the board with it. You never know where the conversation is going to go, man. It's raw, it's real, it's unfiltered, it's organic, man. We're all over the place with it, man. Just chopping it up. That's all. Just chopping it up. And we just did that with Adam Biggs. So big ups to him. Rivers of Nihil. Go check him out. Go get some merch. Go to a show. Get yourself out there, man. And definitely do yourself a favor, man, and feast your ears on this particular album and go back and enjoy their whole discography because it's all great. But this is the current one right here. It just dropped May 30th. Self-titled. Go out and cop it in physical form. Go to your streaming platforms. It's everywhere right now. You're here watching me. So the minute you get off of this, run, and go give it a listen. That being said, again, like, subscribe, smash that notification bell, stay tapped in. Again, big thank you to my viewers, my subscribers, and most importantly, my guests, without whom I would not be able to do this, man, and bring you this amazing content. We just, at least PodScum anyway, we just surpassed 300 episodes, and Off the Couch Boxing is at 260, nipping at its heels, man. So your boy Reckless Rex is running down the guests, bringing you the content. Check the playlists on both podcasts. There's literally something for everybody to sink their teeth into, man. So go on and enjoy. And like your boy Reckless Rex always tells you, because I am the son of Diamond David Lee Roth, the only love child of Diamond David Lee Roth, making me Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. That should go without saying. You're looking at the smoldering good looks, the luscious blonde locks, and you're saying, yup, you definitely are the son of glam, the front man for the band, adored by millions of fans, the peanut butter to your jam, Mr. Wham Bam, thank you, ma'am, wop bop a loo bop a wop bam bam, shazam, hot damn. Look like the man, sound like the man. God damn it, man. The DNA testing is going to prove it conclusively very soon. My lawyers have guaranteed me this. So listen, I'm living on easy street, folks. I'm living the dream. And again, I digress. Let me get refocused, man. I'm all fired up now, man. I get a Rivers of Nihil interview. I start talking about DNA testing and proving that I'm Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. I'm charged up. I need to go eat. I need to go calm myself down. I might even need a nap after that. So thank you again to Adam Biggs. Really appreciate him coming on here, man. And remember, this is coming from your boy, the son of glam, the king of sleaze. Remember, folks, take it easy and keep it sleazy.